Toledo, Sunday service. Please be seated and turn to page 2 on your liturgy book. If you need a liturgy book, the monitor will be walking around, and please take one. Gata of atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddha Dhammam saranam gacchami. Saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand for the Heart Sutra. It's on page 8. Page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokita Shvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajna Paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than empty. emptiness, emptiness, no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness, exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation hath no wisdom and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim. Gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha, gate, gate, para, gate, parasam, gate, bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the 6 worlds, and dedicated and grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the Great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear of all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to all those who suffer as a result of injustices, calamity, cruelty, and war, to Dwayne Jr., Ryushin, Ernest, Claire, Amy, Charles, Stephen, Laverne, Kaijin, Nancy, Sister Suzette, Butsuyo, Tenson, John, Reverend Eugen, and Roger, may they have peace and healing. To Robert, Phil, Olive, Virginia, and Hayden at the time of their death, and to those we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maharajna, Paramita. Please prepare for Zazen. I don't know if there's Dharma school today. There is no Dharma school today. Please prepare for Zazen. We'll now recite the Sangha Covenant found on page 8 of your liturgy books. We, the Daishin Kokuji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, and with wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated comfortably and in a way that you can make eye contact with the teacher. If you're towards the back and you want to move up towards the front of the back 2 rows, please do so, and enjoy the talk. In a moment, we'll recite the Gata on opening the sutra on page 8. Gata on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing to be here today. If we can't see each other, please feel encouraged to move around unless you're smart enough to just want to hide. That's fine too. Great Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Anybody feeling any distress these days? Right? My goodness. I don't know. The stars, the entities, the times, I don't know what, but it seems to me that the distress-o-meter is really off the dial. And as I've had occasion to say, I'm in touch with a number of different pockets of folks. I'm sure many of us are. And I really don't know any group or folks working at a company or the academic institution I'm connected with and the Sangha itself and the family units. And there's just a lot of distress going on right now. And it's like, it's kind of like a COVID thing, except you can't catch it like that. A mask won't help. There's some kind of something going on. And of course, we've seen this kind of topography before, and once this phase comes and goes, just wait a while, it'll come back. In fact, this is nothing unique and new to this moment we're in, except the way it's particularly showing up perhaps for you, your relationship or your job or career or your family member who's alienated despite best efforts, etc. The list is longer than this ridiculous sleeve. So what to do? Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajnaparamita. Avalokiteshvara, this is the embodiment of compassion, love and compassion in the world. What does love do? What would love do? Well, love practiced deep Prajnaparamita, according to this Heart Sutra anyway. I'm sure love does lots of stuff. What does it mean to practice Prajnaparamita? Practice deeply. The first thing is you have to practice. You have to practice. You can't just believe in jazz and believe in the ride cymbal. You have to actually practice. It's not going to play itself, man. And the Dharma is like this. It's not something you ascend to or believe in or sign off on. You have to practice the Dharma. The Buddha is a teacher, not a salvific entity with omniscient powers. A teacher. A teacher means there's a student, and a student means there's something being learned that eventually you can actually embody yourself just fine. So what did love do? Practice. Practice what? Deeply. First, how? Not practicing glancingly or upon convenience when all the stars are lined up just so. Practicing how? Practicing deeply. Language fails, but we have to try. And this is a very important point because it is very easy. The samsaric ego has temper tantrums and will come in and take maybe a little bit of practice and blow it up to be ultimate practice. And this is very dangerous. Dosho Port Roshi, when he was visiting here some years ago, this was out at the farm for those who may remember, he said a very telling thing, which our Sangha hasn't heard much of. He said, once you start training in the Buddha Dharma, you better finish. Or else. And he cryptically left it there. But I think the Venerable is actually correct. Maybe better to not practice than to practice a little bit and assume you've practiced a lot more than you have. And we should all be very humble about this, no matter what empowerments you have or haven't had. That's not the marker. That marks something. But quick hint, there's no finish line here, folks. This is not something you get done. This is something you're practicing. And humility is absolutely at the center of it. Saint Benedict, 6th century definition of humility, honest acceptance of the self. I'll sign off on that. I'll sign off on that. Honest acceptance of the self. What is the self? Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. There, he might not sign off on my take, but that's okay. I love him anyway, it's fine. Practicing deeply. What is love? What would love do in a situation like this? Practice. How? Deeply. Not as a Dharma Band-Aid, as your very life itself. Like your intestines depend on it to keep functioning. Like without practicing deeply, you're going to gouge your own eyes out or something. It's like up there on the list. Maybe, in fact, let's go top tier. Okay. Practice what? Prajna paramita. This means wisdom. This means actually seeing into the nature of the self, of reality, not as a metaphor, not as a simile or an analogy or a fairy tale, as a practical lived experience. Actually practicing in a way that you completely come into contact directly with your own true nature and the nature of the cosmos. And actually it's not done then. That's like saying, hi, my name is Rinsen, what's yours? And the universe goes, whoa. And now you have a conversation to have. It takes some time, maybe multiple lifetimes. This prajna, this perfection, paramita means perfection, the perfection of wisdom. The perfection of wisdom is not simply worldly astuteness, which, we could all use some more of, I suppose. It's better to have it than not. Things like this don't just roll out of bed in the morning. You have to work it. But it's never going to be enough. And it's not really evidence of anything other than itself. Worldly wisdom is simply evidence of worldly wisdom. Acne on the face is simply evidence of acne on the face. That's it. Wisdom, however, is its own thing, seeing into the nature of the self. Then the sutra goes on to give us a little bit more of what this is. Clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty. Clearly heard that all 5 skandhas are empty. Clearly smelled that all 5 skandhas are empty. Clearly tasted that all 5 skandhas are empty, even without a napkin. Clearly felt in the body sensation. Clearly thought through, clearly felt, clearly tasted, clearly touched, clearly smelled, clearly merged with, clearly realized. The sutra says, see. But don't be confused by this. This is not an object of perception, like you're seeing something. When you're dreaming, every single component of that dream is your mind. Every character, every environment, every feeling. And so too is the sense of one who's witnessing the dream. That too is mind. The whole thing. that implied sense of self, the witnesser of the dream, the experiencer of the dream, is also mind. The whole thing. Clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty. We're going to talk about these skandhas. Skandha means heap, like a pile of snow, or a pile of leaves, or a pile of twigs. Seeing that these 5 heaps, these skandhas, which we'll talk about, are empty, that transformed all suffering and distress. Now, what's a little counterintuitive about this is it's not saying love went out and did right by the world, say. Love went out and set them straight. Now, Avalokiteshvara has the 10,000 arms. In this hand, she holds a vial of nectar. In this hand, she holds a threatening weapon. In this hand, she holds a baby carriage. In this hand, she holds a car, oil change. She shows up in all the ways, whatever is needed. The housing insecure, may they be housed. The food insecure, may they have nutrition. The lonely, may they have comfort and companionship. Okay? But the root of it first, from the source from which those things function, is this wisdom. Wisdom is at the center of it, of Avalokiteshvara's functioning. So if we just try to solve all the things, not coming from wisdom, ironically enough, we can't help but contribute to the suffering and the distress. It's like if your hands are dirty and you're trying to wipe the table clean. It's good effort, but there's a prior step. If you have an oily rag and you're trying to clean the floor, there's one essential component you've overlooked. And you can spend your whole day trying to clean the floor with an oily rag and go, what the heck is happening here? So acting from anything other than prajna, we should be very careful about. Like really. This samsara, this dukkha, this suffering, this is like this wheel, and the wheel perpetuates itself, y'all. It wants to turn, and it wants you to be turning in it. It's got like an agenda. That's the matrix. It's a self-perpetuating trap, a prison, really. And there's a way out. Practice deep realization of wisdom, the heart of wisdom. And what does that mean? That means seeing the no self. And this transforms. Notice the word in English, we say it transforms the suffering. It transforms the distress. Please understand, it doesn't mean it obliterates it and evaporates it and you live in a puffy cloud of glitter and joy. This is not what happens. The suffering and distress are transmuted and used as fuel. You still live in the world. It's too hot, you burn. It's too cold, you shiver. Hurtful things hurt. And yet, there's a way to transform all of that into what? Back into love. Actually take the suffering and transform it into your vow. It's not just gutting it out. It's not just knowing how to like unplug for a while and get your battery charged up again and then run back out into the ring. It's not really like that. I've seen my teachers make themselves vulnerable in ways that I could not really comprehend or appreciate at the time, so that I could practice. I think it's very much like, a little child can never really appreciate how much work mom is actually doing. And you know what, Mom? They're never gonna. It's just not going to happen until one day maybe they're a mom. And they go, oh. But still, there's no guarantee, Teachers are like that. Gosh, I can remember being a little one, having tantrums and screaming, cussing, yelling, throwing stuff at my mom. I'm sure I'm the only one who ever did that. And you know what's crazy? She just made all the space that was necessary for my little hissy fit to run its course. And then, all right, honey, time for bed. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that really doesn't stop when you turn 4 or 40 or 80. In fact, the untrained mind will kind of reify these things and identify with them quite fiercely. And in fact, we will shoot each other over this tantrum. Oh, yeah, we will. Oh, yeah, we will. Have a glancing understanding of history. You can't avoid it. So this is serious. This is serious business. Form, sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness. This is the menu, okay? And they mean very specific and technical things within the tradition. Form is body and environment. In other words, form is like in here and out there. Self and things, okay? Now remember, what are we talking about? Love realized the true nature of self and stuff, of self and not self, and saw the emptiness of form. Now the Lankavatara, again, splits form up into self, not self, things. The egolessness of self, the egolessness of things. The Heart Sutra is like it's like a redaction of the Lankavatara as I've come to see it. It's like a distilled version. But if you understand the Lankavatara Sutra, then you can really see in more depth what's going on in the Heart Sutra, I would say. So seeing form. And these it's basically the stream of events that we take to be ourself. There's this implied self in the dream when you're dreaming all this crazy stuff and physics makes no difference anymore and things that are completely nonsensical are obviously fine. But the thing is that there's a perceiver there and there's this subtle sense of a self running through that whole dream. Yes, there is. There's a very subtle sense of a self that is also being dreamed. That, by the way, doesn't stop when you wake up into normal waking life, turns out. Okay. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly form. It rolls off the tongue after a while, but get in touch with that. Form is empty. That's really not that hard cognitively, like this clock here, little clock, right? Classic thing, Well, which part is the clock? You pull off this piece, is this the clock? You pull off this part, is this the clock? Pull off this chunk, is this the clock? Which piece is the clock? Oh, well, the clock is what happens when they're all amalgamated. So there's no self-existent clock. It's not that hard. And of course, there it is, and its time is fairly accurate. But what about emptiness as form? See, that's a whole different thing. Well, the next, form, then the sensation. Now this is like consider it like a field guide for the adventurer, okay? If you're gonna really pay attention to what's going on in your own mind and your own experience, if you use your seated Zen meditation practice, not just as a pleasant escape from stress of the world and a battery recharge, but if you actually do what it's supposed to do, which is to allow you to see into the inner workings, what you will notice is that sensation, feeling, okay, is not lasting. You come in, there's a form, right? You come into contact with it, and then there's always a positive, negative, or neutral. I like what the guy's saying. I don't like what the guy's saying. I no longer care what this guy is saying. Fair enough. Fair enough. I know all of those feelings, okay? But there's this sense of yes, no, or I don't care, right? That is what is meant by sensation. Form, sensation. Sensation here, it means I like, I don't like, I don't care. Positive, negative, neutral. And these feelings are not lasting. Notice they come and go. Maybe 1 minute you like what the guy's saying, the next minute you don't, and the other minute you don't care about this anymore, and then suddenly you're tuned in again, let's say, and within the space of a minute or two, you've gone through many, many different iterations of this. It happens really fast. That's why you have to be very, very still when you meditate and really watch, because time changes a little bit for you, and you're able to, it's like a microscope. You can really tune into subtle movements of mind and body in a way that you will never be able to do if you're just running around trying to take care of the kids or the business or whatever else. You have to give yourself some time to just be still and really feel this, you see, because it's there. Whether you contact it or not, your liver's there, hopefully, doing its job. You just got to notice it, see? Okay, that's sensation. Perception is the first instant of perception of input through the senses. That's the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind stuff. That first instant of cognition. Now, mind you, we're talking about distress. We're talking about suffering, and this is what's crazy. It's not great. It's counterintuitive. You think, well, the suffering is because this situation is wrong, so fix the situation. And yes, the situation should be fixed, but that's a second-order consequence of a first-order realization. The first realization is realize who you are and realize what the situation actually is and isn't. Then love can act and not screw it all up. Love can't control it. Love can't make the outcome always be rosy, but can always act from real wisdom in actual compassion. That you can do. Mental reaction, right? Form, sensation, perception, mental reaction. What does that mean? The mental reaction includes all mental activities. That's thoughts, every feeling, every memory. It includes sensation and perception above it. Don't let that bother you. That's how it is. It gets its own category, though. All mental activity, all thoughts, all emotions. See? And then finally, consciousness. Consciousness is the moment of awareness. This is the experience or of an experience. This is the someone knowing something. This is the consciousness. This is why, for example, is a large language model conscious? So, well, we don't think so. Is there an entity there experiencing something? Certainly, we're past the Turing test. that milestone's passed. But you're really not that different yourself. Talk like a person. So all of these So in other words, feelings are emptiness. Emptiness are feelings. Feelings are exactly emptiness. Emptiness are exactly feelings. Consciousness is exactly emptiness. Emptiness is exactly consciousness. Emptiness is consciousness. It gets a little spooky if you think about it. But if you sit in meditation very well, it becomes very intimate. It's not spooky at all. It's actually quite a relief. Now, living proof, it doesn't solve all the world's problems right away. I wish it did. But it transforms the suffering and the distress that you can bank on. So what to do? All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. This situation, this framing, this moment, this golden age, this Thanksgiving dinner in 1995 when we really did it right. Everybody was actually happy and getting along, and 'twas a butterball, all was well, for those who remember. But it's not permanent. Folks show up in the Sangha that weren't there before. Folks that were here leave. All kinds of reasons. This has been a durable feature ever since the first Zendo I ever walked in. So what do you do? Well, the teachings are very clear. Two things, and I'll leave you with this. Okay. Intention is the main driver of karma. Please let that land. You can't control the results of your actions. They're not up to you. You can stack it up as nice as you can. You can tee that thing up. It should just go putt right in. But you go putt and it goes, whew. And you line it up again and you putt and it goes that way. Because of the wind or what have you. Or an earthquake hits, etc. But karmically, what actually matters is your intention. And this is why we have to be very, very, very rigorous and self-critical and intellectually honest. Okay? The Dharma demands that you are intellectually honest. Why are you doing this? What is the real motivation here? This is really, really, really critical. Is this just my reactivity to trauma, tweaking all over everybody, and I'm kind of doing that stuff? Or is this me just trying to look good? Or is this me just trying to, what is this? And you're still not guaranteed to be correct. But if you're honest and you're authentic, then at least your intention is true. And this, by the way, is for people who are doing things you don't like. It also includes them. Maybe someone has some kind of a cognitive impairment of some kind, or some kind of a dysfunction of some kind or the other, and their intention, I'm not saying it means the actions don't matter, they do, they land, they have to be addressed. But that intention is the most important thing. That is a treasure. Are you really trying to hurt people? Or are you trying to be loving and kind and people end up hurt? Hurt's hurt, and hurt has to be dealt with, but that intention really matters. Conversely, you can intend to take advantage of a situation for your own benefit, and maybe other people get some good out of it too. But your intention is not acceptable, you see. So this intention, and then my deeds are the ground on which I stand. Like actually being accountable for what we actually do. Not how what you do is perceived by other people and their triggers or whatever. That's all there. But what actually happened? And this, unfortunately, in today's world is not popular because this is like data. This is like fact. what actually happened. And as I said last Sunday, feelings kind of win the day in our current, if you look at the media, say, someone's got a political point of view of some kind, someone disagrees, and what do? They don't respond with, typically, they don't respond with cognitive honesty. They respond with emotional volume. They just pound louder and scream harder and stamp, they tantrum a bit. And the more they tantrum, then that's the scale of truth in our society. We don't even recognize it anymore, but I do. The tantrum is nothing other than evidence of a tantrum. That's all it is. It's not proof. What actually did you do? And why did you do it? And then, okay, how did that actually land? And is there anything that could be done better? Yes. Then take the lessons. Yes. Sure. But in this world right now where there seems to be just distress and triggers at every beat of that clock, coming from every angle I'm in touch with, it's very, very important to keep things very simple. Keep it very simple, man. Keep it very simple. What is your intention and what are you actually doing? Long haul, we got a job to do. What's that job? My dear love, please practice deeply. Practice deep prajna, wisdom paramita. Clearly, please clearly see that form and sensation and perception and mental reaction and consciousness are empty. Clear, bliss, light, loving emptiness. And in this way, transform this. Learn to use as fuel. Because the suffering is still going to be there and the distress is still real. How do we use that now as fuel to take care of the kids, to take care of the folks, to do right by people, to do right by yourself? For the sake of all beings throughout space and time, may it be so.
Be